I look at myself on camera sometimes and I just go, oh God, put a bit of makeup, do something. But anyway, it's not about becoming an influencer, as my lovely Italian friend tells me. I actually haven't really gotten dressed all day because I went for some drinks last night up in a pub, and it's the reason I'm on. So last night I was in a pub up the road in France. Lovely. There's two Irish guys who run it. They're brothers. I never realised they were brothers until last night. And they just make the pub. They're just the loveliest souls. I just, they made me feel so welcome. And I met some people up there last night. But I was chatting to one of them last night, and it struck me how much I go into character. And I remember Pamela Anderson talking about this when she started wearing no makeup. It's like she felt like she was herself for the first time, because she's always put on makeup and play these different characters. So last night, it's kind of a defense mechanism. And I go back to Brené Brown, and she talks about living in the arena, and oftentimes we armor up. And I think a lot of the time, them characters are our armor. So last night I was chatting to him, and I'm lucky to be able to not work at the moment and do my spiritual development or my spiritual practice on this journey. And I'm very blessed in that way, because sometimes the thing that holds a lot of us back from taking a leap is financial, and it's a very real, I don't like to say problem, but it's a very real block or gate, or I don't even know how to describe it, for people not to maybe take a leap. So I was chatting to him about it, but I was telling him about how I came to be able to do this. It was through redundancy, through inheritance I got from my godmother and my aunt. And I just felt like I was putting on a character. Like in my head, I was the character, oh, he'll think I'm like this really wealthy person who, and you put on these characters a lot in life. And I guess then I was like, today, all my thoughts were like, oh, I wonder, does he think I was talking like, as I call it, being like, oh God, here, she's a bit of a fucking Aegis. She's a bit of a, like, if you're a man, we call you a wanker. I don't know if that applies. Maybe it does. I don't know. Oh God, I don't know. All these thoughts are going around in my head. But again, I came back to that Jay Shetty video, when you bring it back to yourself, and it's like, never mind what they thought, because he'd always ask that question. If you ask yourself, do you like someone? You bring it back on yourself and go, does that person like me? And he did this little video, and it really struck me. Do you like them? And it was like last night, oh God, I wonder, did I sound like that? And I brought it back to myself going, no, I didn't like the way I sounded. And it was more in me, and I had to be honest with myself, because I was playing a character, so it was inauthentic. So what happens is my soul, because it's so honest, was like, what? Well, it doesn't curse, but the human part of me curses. What the fuck are you doing? That's inauthentic. And sometimes I feel there's a sense at the moment for me to listen and hear rather than speak. So talk less and listen and hear more. So that was just a revelation I had from last night. And then I was watching Mel Robbins talking to Chelsea Handler about one of her books. I haven't read it now, but just this came. And it was just a reminder to everyone. She says in the book, I have become for myself what I have tried to be for every important person in my life: my own best friend, my own cheerleader, my own listener, which I love, my mother, my sister. I became my own daughter. And she goes, and Mel Robbins asks her, what does this mean? And she goes, it means that I got my back. When I'm talking to myself and I'm going through something, I'm like, I've got you. And then the bit that really struck me is like the bits that, sometimes Oprah goes, this is big. And I love when she says that, or it's like one of those aha moments. And it was like, just a reminder to everyone, I've gotten you this far, and I'll get you to the next place you're going to. And then she goes on to say, just by the nature of us being here, we all have value. And I just thought it's a lovely reminder. But that bit, it was a lovely reminder for me, because sometimes when where the fuck am I? Like, you get in on yourself and it's like, but I've gotten you this far, and I'll get you to the next place you're going to. And it's just a reminder is that all they take is small steps. And sometimes I had this conversation that a friend is really struggling at the moment. She lost her job and she's really not in a good place. And I'm reminded that sometimes for people, like, you know, we think of all these braveries and people getting up and speaking, but sometimes bravery to a person, and I know a lot of people have said it, is putting one foot out of bed in the morning. And I think for some people that's the bravest thing they can do. And gosh, it's such a brave thing to do for some people. And I myself being alone, I don't like to say on my own, but alone. And I remember a really good quote earlier. It's like, I had to learn to be alone. It wasn't that I had to learn to be lonely, because that's fleeting. But I was learning, it was Charlie Sheen who said it, I needed to learn to be alone. And it is the truth. We have to learn to be alone and sit, as Michelle Obama self-sat. I love that word. So yeah, it was just a reminder to everyone. And I think I look at people now, because I go for dinner by myself and it could be a really busy restaurant and I find it really uncomfortable. Like, I swallow the food, like it doesn't even hit my tongue, and it's like, but it's because but I always judge people for being alone. And now I'm like, they're so brave, because I think, and for some people it's braver to be in company. I'm not saying for me, doing things alone, oh God, it scares me, and the discomfort and the heart racing. And I am quite social by nature. Like, I am quite social, but eating alone, I go crazy town. I find it so hard. So when I see people eating alone, I think they're the bravest people among us. Just wanted to add that in. I wish you lots of love and light for the night. It is probably nearly 11 o'clock here. It's probably 10 o'clock in Ireland where I'm from. And a big shout out to my big brother who checks in with me and who checked in with me earlier on. And yeah, I love you all.